morning and welcome to Royal Television. My name is Mr. Bright and you are watching Political Views. On this program, I invite people from the realms of politics to help educate you out there to know more about politics. But today the topic on board is corruption. What is corruption and how or what can we use to fight corruption? Today to help me in the studios is Mr. Frederick Boache Ansa. Mr. Ansa is a business administration degree holder and a professional teacher. Viewers can also send in their questions or contributions to the number 026-7919-302. I take it again, 026-7919-302. This program is proudly sponsored by Askmedia Training Institute. Askmedia says if you want to be a TV or radio presenter, a cameraman, or even an editor, come and they'll make your dreams come true. Askmedia, Sibisa, now let's go for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Rising lions, bring it on.
Welcome back, viewers. We stay here on Royal Television and you are watching Political Views. As I told you earlier, we'll be tackling corruption, and I have here with me Mr. Ansa. Mr. Ansa, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hope you're doing good.
I'm great.
Okay. Mr. Ansa, you being a business administration degree holder and a professional teacher, could you explain corruption in your own words for me?
I would term corruption to be an act of abuse of people that have been entrusted with power to get private gains. Or you can also term it to be the willingness and ability of a person who has been given power to do something, and the person is using that power to do a dishonest or an illegal thing to get money out of it or gain an advantage.
Okay. So, Mr. Ansa, with this your explanation, have you ever witnessed a corruption incident, either by a police officer, a local politician, or a businessman?
For the three categories that you have given me, I have witnessed some minor things about it, especially the policeman. When a person is arrested and put into cells, and the person is being granted bail, you can see that under the law, the person is not supposed to pay anything. But because people within our country are not, let me put it, they are not well enthused about our law.
Okay.
They don't know anything. They are ignorant about it. And therefore, people, the policemen demand money from them to which receipts are not given. And that is corruption.
Okay.
When you're on the roadside, you can see the NTTU people on the roadside, that is the policemen, extorting money from drivers, especially the taxi drivers. But one greater experience about me that I've witnessed was at the court, that is at the High Court, where a judicial service staff demanded money for me to do something for me.
Oh, okay.
Where they were supposed to do a letter of administration for me, to which they charged me a money which was far and above the exact money that they gave me a receipt on.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, Mr. Ansa, due to the corruption incidents in this nation, do you think Ghana's economy will drop enormously if nothing is done about it?
Yes, it will drop.
And why will it drop? More worse.
When you take the public institutions as an example, all public monies that are received in the institutions are dropped into the consolidated account. And the consolidated account is the government account. That is where government draws its major revenues from. Now, if an officer is in an institution and is extorting money that was supposed to be channeled into the consolidated fund, it means government is losing. And therefore, I think the economy will be losing.
Okay. Mr. Ansa, with what you said, does it mean that Ghana's economy has been tackled in such a way that even our politicians will try to get something from it, even though their salaries are high enough? So how can they try to steal money from the government if they are being paid a lot of money? How do you think they do that?
At times I don't fault them, but it's becoming something like a norm. When you take a politician as an example, let's use MPP, because I've witnessed some of their things that they do. When they are going into primaries, you will see that the delegates who are going to do the voting for them will be expecting money from them. And some people, some politicians will be paying to the extent of paying each and every delegate 500 Ghana cedis. So you expect that if the person is paying around 500 people, it means he's paying something around the figure of 250,000, to which is 2.5 billion old currency, Ghanaian currency.
That's a huge sum.
Yes. So, and also the person, after getting that nod to be an MP for that constituency, the person is supposed to go to something like funeral, and you get less than 5 funerals a week. He'll be going to invitation programs like marriage, naming ceremony. If he is not there as a person, he may be delegating power, or he may be delegating power to people who may be representing him at that function. And that they all go to those places with money. You not go there and pay less than 100 cedis or 200 cedis. So if he do not find any other means of getting money to top up his or her salary, you see that at the end of the month you will not get anything. And that is the driving force that I think drives them to do such an act.
Mr. Ansa, what are some of the consequences that befalls a corrupt nation?
I think I'll give it two. We have already discussed one, that is the government loses or the economy loses. Such that, as I said, monies that were expected to be received by the institution and drop into the consolidated account rather goes into the public pocket, and that the economy is losing greatly. Because I don't have the figures, but I think that particular one, the economy loses more than 50% of its revenue. And then also, if an economy is in that state, it woos off investors. Because if an investor is coming to a country and there is so much bureaucracy and corrupt acts, it won't urge that investor on to come and invest his money or his properties in that particular country. Right? That is two. That is wooing off investors and then the economy losing.
Okay. Mr. Ansa, let's wait here. Viewers out there, this program is proudly sponsored by Askmedia Training Institute. Askmedia says if you want to be a TV or radio presenter, a cameraman, or even an editor, come and they will make your dreams come true. Askmedia Sibisa near the demo. Mr. Ansa, will it make any difference if corruption rather takes place in the private businesses rather than the government?
The difference is not that much. Just that it's not that much. With the public sector, it directly affects the government in pursuing his intended agenda. But yet still, with the the private sector, if there are much corrupt acts in the private sector, it means it's profitability rate will be minimized.
Okay.
And if the person's profit is down, it means taxes that the person is expected to pay into to the government will also be minimized. So the difference is not that much. They are all corruption in the private sector and the public sector all affects the economy in getting much revenue.
So, Minister Ansa, what will you do if your employee is caught in a corruption scheme?
If I had the opportunity to set up a business, that is me being the CEO of the business, and I found an employee culpable of any corrupt act, I will first query the person and found doing that same act, then the best thing is for the person to be sacked and handed over to the police for prosecution.
Okay, so sacking the person and taking the person to the police station will solve the corruption crisis in your company. Is that what you're saying?
It will serve as a deterrent to others.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Ansa, we would like to know if is it possible for only poor people to be the most corrupt in the nation?
I don't think so.
Why don't you think so?
It's becoming like a moral act. If the person is coming from a rich or a poor home, and that act is within him, it's something inbuilt in the person. If the person is, because for the politicians especially, you find a lot of them being rich people, but still when they are in there, they do those corrupt things. So it's not about the person being a poor person or a rich person.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you place Ghana police in terms of corruption?
1 to 10.
Yeah.
Why Ghana police, but not any other institution?
They are known to be the most corrupt in the nation. So where will you place them?
I can't remember. Recently there was a corruption index to which there were placements, and I thought the police were placed third.
Third in the whole Ghana, in the whole Ghana. Okay. So what are some of the things that this nation is lacking in terms of fighting corruption?
The first, I think, is we promoting transparency, and also transparency in our financial management and in our financial management. That is whereby our auditing agents who are supposed to supervise things, financial transactions that goes on in our institutions are not that stronger, and therefore they do not have that capacity to strictly supervise those institutions. And also we must end impunity. That is, we must strictly enforce the laws so that if a person is found culpable, the person is get punished. Not that the person is just sacked or the person is just prosecuted. Because if I'm in a company and I take let's say 50,000 Ghana cedis or 200,000 Ghana cedis, and I'm found culpable and I'm just sacked, okay, I just go into my house and then set up a new business with it, or just drop the money, and that will never deter other people in doing that same act. Okay.
So, Mr. Ansa, do you think the verdict placed on the judges in the mass corruption scheme, do you think the Chief Justice did a correct job on that?
I don't want to get much into that, since I don't want
My viewers out there are eager to hear, please.
I think she did what is supposed of her to do. Because if you are a Supreme Court, you are a judge in the Supreme Court of Judicature, that is from the High Court to the Supreme Court, you are of high repute, and the citizens are expecting much of you. So if you are also doing that same act to which they think you are not expected to do, then it's bad of you, and therefore the Chief Justice was right.
Okay. And do you think corruption in the country is increasing day by day instead of decreasing?
It's increasing because our laws, as we said, are not enforced. And people think that is where they get much money, because looking at their salaries, they cannot use it to do anything. You know, any graduate who is employed into an organization, the moment he or she gets employed into that organization, the first thing that the person will be expecting is to buy a car.
Okay.
And if he or she can get the chance, build a house. Meanwhile, your salary is just around, I think, 1,000 or 1,500. How can you do that?
Okay.
Except you go, you bypass that your salary
Okay.
for any other one.
Okay. Mr. Ansah, thank you very much for honoring my invitation.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Our viewers out there, this is where we drop the curtains on the Political Views program. Today we talked about corruption, and Mr. Ansah helped explain corruption in a scene that you all will understand. And we talked about some of the ways to fight corruption. But let me remind you that this program was proudly sponsored by Askmedia Training Institute. Askmedia says if you want to be a TV or radio presenter, a cameraman, or even an editor, come and they'll make your dreams come true. Askmedia Sibisa, now what they now. I still remain your host, Mr. Bright. Catch me same time next week.